What's good, boys? We're back. I feel like it's been forever, and it's only been like 4 days, 5 days since we last streamed, but it feels like forever. That's the thing. I feel it in my heart, and I do apologize for the long delay. We'll talk about it for a little bit, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's not really my information to tell. You know, sometimes gotta keep a couple secrets. Usually, I'm an open book. Listen, I'll tell you all about my first time kissing a girl, first time kissing a boy, and my first time, really experiencing my sexual awakening. Let's go back to 2002. I'm at a family party with an uncle. All right, fuck. Uh, let's put on the music. Let's get some music going before we start streaming. Before we get too ahead of ourselves. Um, I said last stream I wanted to play some Final Fantasy music, so I found a playlist of relaxing Final Fantasy music, and hopefully it is relaxing. Hopefully it's chill. You know what? I have such a special place in my heart for Final Fantasy music. It just makes me happy. So I'm excited, honestly, to put this on in the background. Kind of vibe out. We're starting with music from Final Fantasy 9. My favorite Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 9 also has a special place in my heart. Oh, alright. Yeah, so we're back in it, boys. And I know I was supposed to stream on Saturday? Yeah. We were supposed to stream on Saturday. And I had to cancel it. And I said it was for family emergencies, though it technically was not my family per se. My wife had a relative die. And I just thought, it'd probably be best if I spend time with her and I be there for her instead of streaming. Just didn't feel like the right thing to do. So, I've always said in the past couple months, ever since I started streaming again and taking streaming seriously, that I wouldn't cancel a stream unless I was so sick that I could not talk, or if some emergency had popped up that had prevented me from streaming. And I've been trying to hold true to that mantra. I've gone as far as streaming even when I have a runny nose that results in me having to grab a tissue, mute my mic, and aggressively blow my nose every 5 minutes. We've done that stream before. We've done a stream where I spent more time blowing my nose than talking. But my mindset was, if I can still talk, I can still stream. So I literally have not canceled a stream unless I cannot talk. If I'm bedridden. And I'll only cancel a stream if it's like an emergency. I'll give you an example of that. When I got in my car accident. I canceled my stream the night we got in a car accident. That was unlucky. But this felt like one of those times where it was justifiable canceling a stream. Like, I don't regret it. And, I think it was the right call. Why is this DS moving around so much? I don't know. I think it's because it's off balance, so it just kind of wiggles back and forth. But yeah, at the very least, I wanted to give y'all a brief explanation as to why the last stream got canceled. And give y'all as much details as I could without obviously oversharing. All good. And that's why I appreciate you. You're always there for me, brother, and I'm always there for you, brother. I don't think anyone blames you for canceling. That's true. And it is, like I said, a valid reason. I just still feel bad, I guess. Like, I've put a lot of effort into taking streaming more seriously this year and treating it less casually. Because in the past, I literally just had the mindset of, like, It's just a hobby. It's just a casual thing. I don't care. And while I'm obviously taking streaming more seriously, there's still some roadblocks that get in the way of that, you know? Like my full-time job or my real life. And therefore, you know, I sometimes feel bad when I don't meet the expectations I set for myself. And I think it's because even though I set probably the most strict and stressful expectations on myself, and no one else has those same expectations. Like, I'm well aware that I'm probably my own worst critic in my head, because I don't know, the way it works in my head is I think that because I'm my own worst critic, everyone else is going to have that same mentality. You know, because I feel bad missing a stream, and I'm like mad at myself for missing a stream. Other people are going to be upset. And you know, I'm well aware that's not correct. I still just let it get to me. I don't know, we can turn this into a therapy hour. You can talk about how much I project. I'm joking. I think genuinely I'm just my own biggest critic, though, which is not the best mentality to have. I think it's good, though, because it keeps me humble. Like, I'd rather be too hard on myself than, like, think I'm the greatest fucking person to ever exist. Like, this is the greatest stream you'll ever watch on Twitch. A $14 webcam pointed at 4 gaming consoles with the most blurry-ass footage ever. Yeah, this is peak content. Sorry, guys. You won't find anything better anywhere else on the internet. But no, I do think one positive thing about being too hard on myself is I'm, again, not like a cocky, egotistical, smug, fucking obnoxious streamer. Plus, that personality is kind of oversaturated on Twitch and YouTube. We have enough egotistical streamers. Music is a paid actor. You know what's funny? I didn't even realize what music started playing. That's so funny. You know, you would have made partner on Twitch if you streamed. I know. It's such a bummer. If I just did that one stream, if I didn't skip it, we definitely would have got 300 viewers. I would have hit partner on Twitch. I would have been on the front page. They would have been making billboards of me like they were making billboards of Ninja back in 2018. Face of the company. But I canceled my stream so I could be with my wife. And now everything's just gone so wrong. I'm kidding. 15 stream wolf streak. Listen, it's okay though. The music might be sad. I might be a little sad. But the vibes are gonna go up when we find the shiny. I have so much confidence. I wasn't lying when I posted in my Discord that we're finding it in the next 24 to 48 hours. I believe. Even if I have to stream for 24 to 48 hours straight. I'll stream for 2 days straight. I don't work the next 2 days. We're getting the shiny. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, I just spilled water. I don't even know how. But yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned partner in the chat, because I don't even know what the requirements for Twitch partner are. I know they're just so far out of reach right now, and therefore because they're so far out of reach for me, I've never really looked and researched what they are. I think the like viewer requirement is something pretty crazy. At least crazy for most small streamers. Like 100 average viewers in the last 30 days or something like that. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but I know it's something difficult. Because I just think Twitch as a platform is a space where there's almost different tiers of viewership, and it's really difficult to break into another tier. Like, you would think across the span of Twitch streamers, it would be a pretty predictable slope, almost like an opposite exponential curve, where the majority of viewers have no viewers. Here, I think I can explain this better if I like had a graph up or something. Give me a sec. Let me pull a pirate software and open MS Paint and not take accountability for any of my actions. So here's my thought. Oh my god, it's so bright. Jesus Christ. I understand why that guy would always fucking put the background as black. Alright, here's the graph I'm thinking of, okay? Here's how I see it in my mind. You've got viewers. I really don't know how to like write letters with a mouse. That felt like I was having a stroke. And then number of channels. Okay. And let's put 0 here. Let's say like 10,000 viewers. And then number of channels is infinite. Just an infinite amount of channels on Twitch. So, wait, why does this graph not make sense in my head? Listen, I'm going to blame it on the fact that I worked today. Because that doesn't make sense to me. Oh, it's because my fucking graph is wrong. Clearly, my brain is fried after working a 10-hour shift. Number of channels. We're going to do it this way because it makes more sense in my brain, and I think it'll look better. Versus viewer count. Okay. 0 on the X and Y axis. Did I write 1,000? Jesus Christ. Something's wrong with me. This is why I normally don't stream after work. 10,000 viewer count. Let's just say the number is infinite. Infinite number of Twitch channels, like I said. The number of channels at 0 viewers is a fuck ton. And you would think, naturally, it would kind of become like an exponential curve, where eventually, once you get to the like 10,000 viewer mark, it depletes. You would think. Can I just like get rid of this? I'm so stupid. I don't use MS Paint. I've clearly like never used MS Paint in my life. I was just doing it for like a pirate software bit. Oh fuck, what I got? Boys, I have no clue what I'm doing right now. How do I change brush size? You're watching a grown man have a stroke live on Twitch, by the way. Okay. Anyways, what I was saying is like number of channels with 0 viewers is a lot, and then it very quickly drops off and kind of plateaus because very few channels have 10,000 viewers. Lots of channels have 0 viewers. But what I've noticed, and you guys can prove me if I'm wrong, I just think from my experience and my time watching Twitch channels, is that it's not like this. This is actually an incorrect graph. You would think it's correct, but you're wrong. Sorry, that was aggressive. It's kind of more in like stages. Like, and eventually tapers off. You'll get a fuck ton of channels that have 0 viewers. And then a fuck ton of channels kind of get stuck around that 20 viewer cap. and then like an 80 viewer cap, and then eventually you'll get the channels that can get up into like the 100s, and then you get channels that can get up into like the thousands. But the number of channels that have 20 viewers, from what I've seen, is far bigger than these spaces in between here. So if there's 30 viewers, there's two. Listen, the math might not math, but this is just from what I've seen in my experience. I feel like Twitch viewership kind of comes in tiers. And therefore, there's a lot of channels that have 20 viewers. 20 viewers is great. 20 viewers is like a good stream for me. But there's a lot of channels that get consistently 20 viewers, but they'll never hit partner. And I think to get to partner, to get to like this level, is extremely difficult, and it's impressive when a channel's able to hit a number like this, or a number like this. This is for like the top 1%. This is more what the goal should be, I think, for streamers who are trying to be realistic. If you want to be optimistic, you can make 200 viewers your goal. But I don't know. That's just what I'm seeing. Your channel versus viewer graph is flipped. No, it isn't. Wait, am I wrong? I don't think it is. I think it's right. I know I'm clearly running on empty today. My brain is not working after pulling a 10-hour shift. But this has got to be right. Doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Okay. All of that just to do a stupid pirate software bit. All that work just for a pirate software bit. Hey man, I love a good bit. I'll commit to the bit anytime. Anytime, any day. Yeah, I like I said, I could be wrong. And I would love to see some actual like data behind that theory. But I really and truly believe, from the time I've spent watching Twitch and streaming on Twitch, I've noticed that viewership kind of comes in tiers. And it's not a straight exponential graph. So it is really difficult to, I think you put it in the chat, hit a 75 average viewer count. Because you kind of have to work your way towards that tier. It's not just slowly working your way down an exponential graph. If anything, that would be more... that'd almost be more comforting if it was an exponential thing. Because it would be consistent. But viewership's not consistent. And it comes in waves like that. And therefore, I have no thoughts about partner right now. Obviously, you know, I would love to hit partner. But, again, I'm a very realistic person. I'm my own worst critic. And therefore, I think to even consider partner on Twitch right now would be a waste of my effort. I want to put my effort into achieving more realistic goals, and then slowly building those goals up. Like, instead of making my goal partner, and oh my god, why does this Game Boy always glitch out? I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like the Game Boy I'm using, or maybe I'm just pressing the wrong buttons. I'm losing my mind. I'm already annoyed with this one. Anyways, I got myself completely off track there. Oh, yeah, I think, like, if I set my goal right now to hit partner, that would be almost a silly goal. Because it's so unattainable at this moment. That's not to say it's impossible, but right now, unattainable. But if I set my goal to hit, like, consistent 10 viewers, and then consistent 20 viewers, and then maybe after that, consistent 40 viewers, we can kind of slowly work towards those goals, which are much more attainable and much more realistic, and use that momentum to keep growing. Again, some people might have a different way of looking at it. Some people's logic might be different, and maybe my brain just works differently. But I think it's better for me, especially to not like get burnt out or disappointed in myself, if I set realistic goals, and those goals just, keep getting a little bit bigger and better and brighter. I don't know. Yeah. Did I need to use an MS Paint graph to explain that? No. But to me, it was a really funny bit. And I always wanted to have, like, a pirate software moment. Not necessarily a pirate software moment in the way that, like, you abandon your guild during a World of Warcraft raid. Nor would I want a pirate software moment in the way that, like, I start working on a project for 9 years, only to have that project never be finalized. Like, if I'm gonna make a video game, I'll at least do it in 8 years. And I also wouldn't want to have, like, a pirate software moment in the way where I, get accused of being really creepy with women. I was trying to find a nice way to word that. But he did work at Blizzard, so that was kind of the norm for that company. So can we really blame him? That's a big Blizzard moment right there. I do think it's kind of crazy. And I don't know if, like, at least in the YouTube and Twitch gaming space, if someone has had such a meteoric rise and then such a quick plummeting downfall so soon after. Like, there have been huge creators in the gaming space who have been canceled or their viewership just disappears. But I think when I imagine examples like that, I can't think of anyone who burned bright so quickly and then burned out so quickly. You know what I mean? Like, when I think of other gaming creators who got really big, that happened slowly. And then when their viewership disappeared, that also kind of happened slowly over time. And I don't know if it's just a point to how the internet works now and how the content creation community works now, where things get really, really viral really quickly, and then they can also fall apart really quickly. Kind of like how people have almost a 48-hour attention span, it feels like. But the way Pirate Software blew up just became huge. Like, I'm pretty sure he was hitting, was it like 100 million views in a year? I know it's some crazy number, like a round number like that. Either like 100 million or 200 million. It was some even number like that. But, like, he went from hitting 100 million views in a year to dropping off the face of the earth, losing a ton of viewership, ton of, like, subscribers, and just, like, kind of falling off. Again, I'm not saying that's surprising. Like, his personality alone is the reason that happened. He has no one to blame but himself. I'm just more shocked at how quickly he blew up and then how quickly he fell off. I don't know what our goal for tonight's gonna be. I think just because I worked a 10-hour shift today and I'm tired, we'll probably just do the usual, which is 500. It really has just become commonplace, I think, in these streams. We've done 500 every stream except one. So I have been kind of taking this one step at a time. But, you know, that's sometimes how you have to live your life. Like, if I asked you how to eat a 1,000-pound elephant, the only acceptable... Oh my god, I can't speak. And this Game Boy still isn't... I don't know what I'm doing wrong with this Game Boy. I'm gonna blame it on the fact that I can't see it. So when I'm pressing the buttons like this, not only is it covered up for you guys, but it's covered up for me. I can't see it. So, like, maybe I'm just pressing the wrong buttons and I don't know it? I don't know. I'm getting so annoyed, I will say that. Because I keep messing up. I need to do, like, a different strategy to prevent myself from continuing to make that mistake. Because if I continue to do that, it becomes a continuous problem. It's just going to slow down the shiny hunt. Unnecessarily. We gotta fix this. We gotta find a new way to grind all 4 of these consoles at once without messing up. Maybe I just need to figure out how to, like, place my hands differently. Like, if I place my hand like this, I can... Normally, I have my hand like this. But if I place my hand like this, I know it doesn't look that different for you guys, but for me, I can actually see all 4 screens if I put my hand like this. So I know that I'm not messing up on any of the consoles. Why did I go into my bag? Yeah. Honestly, I don't even remember how we got on this topic. Oh, yeah, we were talking about partner. Yeah, that's a very, very down the line goal. I think it's obviously the dream, but I'm not worrying about it yet. I'm not even focusing on it yet. I just want to focus on building a nice little community, playing some fun games, and having a good time. I do want to do... Such a redundant statement. I would like to do more community-driven streams. We talked about creating that Minecraft server for everyone to play on, which I think would be fun. I think it would be a lot of fun to have a Minecraft server to play with, like, the people in the chat. I do worry a little bit about, like, people trolling and that becoming an issue, but a great idea Brother Brandon suggested, I think. It was either Brandon, maybe it was Insane Rainbow Flakes, maybe it was Sam. It could have been any of you, honestly. A very smart person in the chat suggested we do channel points as a requirement to get on the server. Like, it has to be a reward redeemed with channel points to gain access to the server whitelist. I think that's a great idea. And it would bring back, like, a nice... I don't know. A nice refresher of community content. Because I used to do, like, Fall Guys live streams with viewers. And on a very rare occasion, I would play, like, shooter games with viewers, whether it be Fortnite or Overwatch. Sometimes Counter-Strike, but Counter-Strike was difficult. Because if we weren't within the same rank of each other, we couldn't play together. Like, if you're not the same rank or within same, like, 5 ranks of each other on Counter-Strike, you can't play together. But the point I'm trying to make is I used to play a lot of games with viewers, and I feel like That's become less and less common on my stream, and I don't know why. I want to bring it back. I think the Minecraft server is a great way to bring it back. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I just want to like plan it out a little bit ahead of time, because like we talked about when we last discussed this, and when I was coming up with ideas for the server, I want multiple worlds on the server. I want like a creative world where everyone can kind of pick their own plot of land and they get to build in their specific plot of land, again, to avoid like griefing. I want a survival world, and that would just be kind of like a normal survival play through the game, almost like an SMP. And then I would also love to do an adventure world, but I want to build, obviously, a map for that adventure world for people to play first. Almost like my own little game in Minecraft. Whether it be like a story game or a dungeon crawling game. I don't really know yet. I just want to build my own like little game within the game of Minecraft. I think that's fun. And I think it would be a fun way to introduce adventure into the Minecraft world. Because I feel like adventure mode in Minecraft is something that's slept on a lot. You don't see a lot of adventure mode Minecraft servers. It's usually always survival or creative. But yeah, I want to plan it out. Maybe make a little world for people to explore in adventure mode. And then eventually have the server go live with those three worlds. A survival world, creative world, and an adventure world. Okay. We're slowly grinding through here. You know, I was thinking about the fact that once we finally get this shiny, it's gonna be a lot of work to get these games all to the point where I can do the next shiny hunt. Like, I know we've talked about it before, and I've mentioned it like casually, but I don't think I fully understand, and I don't think I fully grasped just how difficult it's gonna be to play like 4 copies of this game at once. And get to the point where I can almost like beat 4 games at once in order to progress in the story far enough to do like the next shiny hunt and then the shiny hunt after that. For example, like the next shiny hunt I want to do is at the game corner. And therefore that means at the very least I got to get all these games to the point in the story where you unlock the game corner. That's like halfway through the game. It's gonna be a lot of grinding, that's for sure. I have absolutely no idea how long it's gonna take me. And that means it could be a pretty sizable amount of time. What happened? Oh, someone got banned for being a bot. Sucks to suck. That's funny. Actually, no. I'm gonna put a creeper emoji. Because your message got fucking nuked. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I just I have a little bit of a worry that it's gonna be a while between this shiny hunt number one, and then our second shiny hunt at the game corner. But that's okay. We can fill in the space with other streams. You know, we're starting this new Stardew Valley series soon. And I also still want to play a DS game, but I'm keeping it a secret which game we're going to start. All I will say is it's going to be a pretty normal Let's Play. Not doing anything crazy. Because this stream is already challenging enough. Like, this is a challenge playthrough of a game. In the most fitting way. Like, if you think of a challenge playthrough, this matches that description to a T. And then my Stardew Valley playthrough is kind of a challenge, you know? I can only grow one crop, but I can still make money in other ways by fishing, mining, and I can still kind of cheese the system to beat the game, even though I'm only growing one crop. But that's also like a challenge playthrough. So, considering the fact that we're basically doing 2 challenge playthroughs on my stream, I want whatever game we add in the third and final spot to be just a normal, casual Let's Play. And like I said, I think I've decided on a DS game to do that with, and to have that casual Let's Play. But we're keeping it a secret. Oh my gosh. I always feel bad when I do a stream after working because I feel like exhausted right now. I come home from work and all I can think about is going to bed for 16 hours. God dang it, why do I keep doing that? I'm clearly not locked in, not focused, because I keep pressing the wrong buttons at the wrong times. Okay. Cool. Beautiful. I am a little tired, though. I will admit that. I also feel bad because I'm constantly changing up my stream schedule, but I do try to give little forewarnings. I mean, I've been very honest about the fact that if I schedule a stream for a day that I work, it's very likely gonna get pushed around to another day. Like, for example, this stream was supposed to happen yesterday. But I also said at the end of the last stream, it might happen on the 11th, it might happen on the 12th. The problem is when I'm scheduling my streams out, I can't... There's like no way for me to put on the schedule. You know, the stream could be on the 11th, could be on the 12th. Like 50% chance it's on the 11th, 50% chance on the 12th. Like, I have to put a concrete date. So I just put the 11th and then let y'all know ahead of time. It also might be happening on the 12th, you know? 50-50 chance. Okay. He's got out of sync for a second, but I think we're back. I think we fixed it. We're getting that shiny. Yes, we are. I'm so confident right now. Call it ignorance, call it blind optimism, but I've never been more confident than this moment. Well, that's a lie. I was really confident the day after I had a dream. I was fast asleep in my cozy bed, and I had a dream that we got the shiny. And then the next day, I live streamed it, and I was all but certain we were getting the shiny. I had fully convinced myself, and I do think it was because, you know, I almost had a vision. I had a moment of clairvoyance. And like I said, I fully believed we were getting the shiny that day. But outside of that, you know, this is the most confident I've ever been. How have you been, by the way? Insane Rainbow Flakes. Wonderful to see you. See, I've been trying to find a way. Okay. I'll be honest with you. I've been trying to find a way to, like, shorten your name almost. Because I do that with, like, every chatter. I guess except for Brandon. I add an extra word to his name, technically. Instead of calling him Braun or Robin, I call him Brother Brandon. That's like 2-3 extra syllables. But with most of my chatters, I'll try to like find a shortened version of their name. For example, Sam in the chat is, well, I tried to use Sam Pop as an example, and I still shortened his name. I meant to say your full name, and in my brain, I just still called you Sam. No, like, Sam Pop is Sam. I have one of my moderators whose name is Drakstar Jinx, and I just call him Drak. Or another viewer I used to have way back in the day was named Ray Nico. One of my old moderators. I haven't talked to them in a while. I don't even know if they're still like online. They might have just got like an adult life. But like Ray Nico was Ray. Another person who I still have as a moderator, and they're still sometimes active in my chat, is Sayfiel. Sayfiel is Say. I shorten like everyone's name. Ray, Say, Sam. All of those names are just like a one-syllable version of their actual name on Twitch. If you want, you can call me Rain too. It also works. A lot of people call me Rainbow Flakes. Really? Rain. Okay. I don't hate that. That is a really good, like, one-syllable shortened version of your name. See, when I was trying to think of it, in between streams, because I was thinking about it on, like, one of my drives to or from work. And I'll be honest, when I drive to work, or especially back home from work, when I'm tired and delusional, I'll think about the most random ass shit. Like, 1 second, I'll be thinking about, like, a Flash game from the early 2000s I played in computer class. And then the next second, I'll be thinking about, like, someone's Twitch name. And I was driving home from work, and I thought about, like, how I could shorten your name. And one of the first things that came to my mind was IRF. And then I'm like, I cannot call you IRF. That sounds like a military, like, weapon of war. It sounds like a missile you would shoot from across the globe that targets a foreign country and then, like, heat sinks onto a specific building. Like, they took out Osama bin Laden with an IRF missile. That's a joke. I know they killed him with guns and dogs. Anyways, I was like, I cannot call you IRF. It sounds far too militaristic. Add the IRF to Fortnite. Hey guys, what skin are you running on your IRF in Fortnite? Normally, when I'm, you know, using an RPG, I have the rainbow skin applied, but when I have an IRF, I put the camo skin on there. I feel like a real man of war. But yeah, actually, I don't hate rain. See, I usually wait a little bit, though, before giving someone a nickname in the chat. Because there was one time I had a viewer, and their Twitch name was just, like, their real human name. Like, I think it was something like Matthew, or a name like that. A name like Matthew, where it's a long name, but most people shorten it. And again, I usually shorten people's names. So, he showed up in the chat, and I started calling him Matt, and he got mad at me. My name's Matthew, not Matt. You know, fair, respect. My fault for, disrespecting. But ever since then, and again, I wish I could remember his actual Twitch name, because I know it wasn't Matt. But, like, ever since I called that guy Matt, I usually wait a little bit before trying to shorten someone's name. Like, if they show up in the chat, and they're a first-time chatter, I'm calling them by their full legal government name for at least the first 3 streams, until I know we're comfortable with each other. Also, I realized I never answered your question. You asked me how I was doing. I'm doing okay. I mean, I'm doing fine, honestly. Just, as I said in the Discord, had some family issues recently. More my wife's family, and, you know, I'm just trying to be there for her, trying to be a good husband. And I had to take a little bit of time off from the stream in order to do that. You assuming makes an ass out of you and Ming? I guess you're right. Never heard it put that way. What is this, like, fancy ass Venice, Italy kayaking down the aqueducts music? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not trying to shit talk the music, but, like, when I put on a relaxing playlist, I didn't expect to be transported to the alleyways of Venice, Italy. Eating a slice of margarita pizza out of one hand, and just some fettuccine alfredo in the other. Some loose fettuccine alfredo. I hate the way I worded that. Sorry. I promise to never use the phrase loose fettuccine alfredo ever again. You haven't watched The Amazing Digital Circus? I have not. What is that? I'm not gonna lie. I'm multitasking, playing Fortnite at the same time. And the music was making me so confused because I thought it was from the game. Yeah, Fortnite. Italian update. Listen, I know y'all would never believe it, but I'm actually majoritively Italian. I'm like 50% Italian. I'm 50% Italian, and then like 50% every other European nation. Like 50% everything else, as long as it's white. Joking. I mean, I'm not joking, but I'm joking in that context. It's not on purpose, okay? I didn't get to decide which of my ancestors fucked. Alright, if I did get to decide, I would have at least thrown a sprinkle of something else in there. A sprinkle of something not Caucasian. But, yeah, no. My ethnicity is 50% Italian, and then quite literally 50% everything else in Europe. But you would never believe it, though, because, like, I am the palest Italian to ever see. like Casper the Friendly Ghost levels of white. And that's like the one good thing about Italians, is they're at least a fun variant of white. They're white, but they make you question it for a second, like, ooh, he's a little tan. No one's questioning what I am. They look at me and they go, that boy is straight out of Scandinavia. Okay, so Digital Circus is a show produced by Glitch on YouTube? What's it about? Like I said, I've never heard of this. I low-key thought you were going to say it was like a TV show or something. I would love some chicken Alfredo. Honestly, I could go for some chicken Alfredo right now. Nothing makes this white boy happier than some Alfredo pasta. Especially, like... Ooh. Alright. I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. It's not really a secret, but this is a strategy my wife and I use when we go out to restaurants. And the whole reason I thought about this is because we were talking about chicken Alfredo in the chat, and that made me think about the lovely, just oasis called Olive Garden. And when my wife and I go to any restaurant, but especially Olive Garden, we try to game the system. And here's what I mean by gaming the system, or gaming. I don't know why I said that with a weird accent. My Italian came out. No, here's what I mean by gaming the system. When we go out to a restaurant, we'll purposefully buy one actual drink, whether it be a soda, a lemonade, whatever. And then the other one of us will order a water. And then we will only drink the soda, get that refilled multiple times, especially if it's a restaurant with free refills. This only really works at restaurants with free refills. But we'll only drink the soda and keep getting free refills of that. And we just won't drink the water. And then, instead of having to pay for 2 sodas for the both of us, we just pay for 1 soda. And then additionally, my wife and I will both buy an entree that we both like. So I'll get chicken Alfredo, and maybe she'll get like a lasagna. And then we'll just split it 50-50. I get 50% chicken Alfredo, 50% lasagna, and she gets the same thing. And therefore, it's almost like you're getting 2 entrees for the price of 1. You get a bigger variety of food. Additionally, if you're at a place like Olive Garden, I know I keep using Olive Garden as an example, but it's because I want to be consistent. You can also game the system with, like, the breadsticks. Hi, Abby. Yeah, eventually, like... Sure, yeah, that's fine. I probably just won't eat until after this, because I want to stream. Yeah, I have off tomorrow. Bye, Abby. What was... Oh, yeah. So, like, say you're at an Olive Garden. Another way you can game the system is by taking home a whole dozen breadsticks. And you might be asking yourself, well, like, how do you take home so many breadsticks? They usually deliver them to the table in batches of, like, 4 or 5. What we do is we'll get a, re-up of the breadsticks. Re-up is such a funny word. It makes it sound like we're shooting drugs. We'll relapse on breadsticks. And when that basket comes to the table, we will take those 4 breadsticks and just place them somewhere on our plate, as if we're eating them. And then we'll ask for more breadsticks. Server will bring us more breadsticks. Now we have 8 breadsticks. Now, I'll admit, you could take this strategy, technically, to an infinite amount. But the more breadsticks you start hiding on the table, the more shame I start to feel, at least. I can admit that. It does come with a level of shame. But, as someone who's very poor, and wants to get as much food as possible for my money, I don't have enough shame to stop at like 8 breadsticks. Like I said, I'll take at least 10 home. Like, if I can, we're going up to 12, 14, 16 breadsticks. And another thing my wife and I will do is we'll order just a like bowl of like marinara sauce or Alfredo sauce to dip the breadsticks in, because it's pretty cheap to just order like a bowl of sauce, and it makes all of those free breadsticks that you've been racking up and hiding on the table or in your pocket, maybe in your purse, it makes those breadsticks taste 10 times better for such a low price. I'm gonna be so honest, I don't even remember how we got on this topic. But those are some ways that you can kind of game the system and get more food for less money when you go out to eat. The biggest one I always try to put people on is the soda trick. You know, if I'm out talking with a coworker or a friend, I might not tell them about the breadstick thing because it is a little embarrassing. I don't want them to judge me. But I will proudly tell them about the soda trick because I think it's just genius. Like, if you're out with your significant other, one of you order soda, one of you order water, and then both drink the soda. Pay for one drink instead of 2. But, now I will admit I have too much shame to go openly discuss the fact that I'm hiding breadsticks under the table at Olive Garden just to get more breadsticks and then take all 20 of those breadsticks home. I'll be honest, alright? A little bit of shame in that. Not enough shame to, you know, keep the secret to myself. But this is a safe space where I feel comfortable sharing my shame with the chat. The wiki description for Digital Circus. Because I suck at describing things. Fair enough, fair enough. The series follows a group of humans trapped inside a circus-themed virtual reality game, where they are overseen by an erratic artificial intelligence, while coping with the personal traumas and psychological tendencies. So is it like is it a funny thing? Or is it like a horror series? What's the vibe? It's animated? Okay. It's funny, okay. See, I couldn't tell based off that description. I didn't know how to react, I'll be honest, because I had no clue what to expect. You could have said it's a comedy, you could have said it's a body horror series, and I would have believed you either way. Alright. It has serious moments, but overall funny. Maybe I'll check it out. I'll have to add it to my ever existing YouTube Watch Later playlist. My YouTube Watch Later playlist has been in the hundreds, sometimes the thousands, for years now. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to clear out that Watch Later playlist. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get rid of it. Now, recently, I have been doing a good job of lowering the number of videos in my YouTube Watch Later playlist. I think at its peak, it was 1,400 videos, and that was sometime last year. Sometime around last year, I had 1,400 videos in my YouTube Watch Later playlist. Right now, it is down to 400. So we've removed 1,000 videos from the playlist since then. And before you accuse me of being a degen, I did not watch 1,000 videos. A good number of the videos I removed from that playlist were things that I just deleted because they weren't relevant anymore. Like, It was so funny to look back at some of the videos I had on there from 5, 6 years ago. Like, I had news clips saved to my watch later playlist of news stories that weren't relevant anymore because they happened half a decade ago. So I deleted a lot of those. There was also a lot of videos from channels I'm no longer subscribed to and I don't really care about anymore that I deleted. And that's actually kind of part of the reason why my watch later playlist is so long. And it's because whenever I look at my sub feed and I see all the videos that have been posted in my YouTube sub feed since the last time I opened the app, any video in my sub feed that I don't have time to watch, I will add to the watch later playlist. Because I am a very loyal subscriber, okay? I care a lot about the channels I'm subscribed to. And therefore, if I don't have time to watch like a 2-hour video from Wendigoon, I'm throwing that video in my watch later playlist. And I do think that was the primary cause to why my watch later playlists ended up becoming 1,400 videos long. But I had been doing that for so many years. And obviously, over time, as I get older, mature, my personality changes, I've unsubscribed to a lot of channels. So, I had like 5-year-old videos from channels I hadn't been subscribed to in ages, just sitting in that watch later playlist. So I also deleted those. And then I have tried to watch a lot more YouTube lately to catch up on things and to clear out that watch later playlist. For example, I think in the year 2025, I have not watched a single TV show live. And I also don't watch movies anymore. I don't watch streaming services, don't watch movies, don't watch TV. I just watch YouTube. And while that has kind of made my media consumption a little tunnel visioned and a lot less exciting because there's less variety, we have cleared out 1,000 videos from the YouTube Watch Later playlist. So to me, it's worth it, you know? I went from 1,400 videos down to 400 videos. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get my Watch Later playlist fully cleared. Like, I don't think I will ever have 0 videos in my Watch Later playlist. Because I throw way too many videos in there. I just use it almost like a reminder. I use my Watch Later playlist as a way to save videos I've already watched that I may want to watch again. Because I know I won't be able to find them in the future. That's very interesting. I've never thought about that. I guess, though, that's kind of what I use my liked videos playlist as. Because I don't like videos very often on YouTube. I'll only like a video on YouTube if I think it's truly amazing. Like a 10 out of 10 video, some of the best content I've ever seen. Or I'll like a video if it's like a tutorial, something helpful that I want to use in the future. Like, a good chunk of the videos in my liked videos playlist are like Minecraft Redstone tutorials, because I have literally no knowledge, no understanding, and I just have just the dumbest like I can't think of the word. I have no knowledge, no intelligence, and no real experience, I guess, with Redstone and Minecraft. So whenever I want to build like a piston door or like a redstone timer that lights up, anything like that, even simple things, like anything that uses a repeater or a comparator. I dropped my wedding ring, sorry. Got my wedding ring back. Anything that uses a repeater or a comparator, I have no clue how that works. I don't know what those do. I'm an idiot when it comes to Minecraft Redstone. So I have so many videos just saved to my like video playlist. That's Minecraft Redstone tutorials. Sorry, I gotta move my chair back up. I treat liking videos the same way. Yeah, man. Like I said, without my liked videos playlist, I don't think I would know how to do half of the shit I do in like Minecraft when it comes to Redstone, or half of the things I've learned when it comes to Photoshop and Premiere, like editing pictures and videos. I am fully self-taught, and by self-taught I mean I'm taught by YouTube. But it is very funny. Like, I'll scroll through my liked videos playlist, and it's just 90% tutorials. Eventually, there'll be that one video that's actually good, and I liked it because I actually like it. But that's rare. Alright. I feel like I need to pick up the pace. I'm not necessarily going slow. Just not being efficient when it comes to these resets. At the rate we're going... Oh my god, at the rate we're going, we're never going to finish this stream. It's going to take like 4 hours. That's right. We'll start moving a little faster here. I'm starting to regret using 2 DSs because they have the extra screen you have to scroll through of selecting the Game Boy game plugged into the system instead of a DS game, and therefore they take longer to load up. But I also don't own 4 Game Boys. At least not 4 Game Boy Advance systems. I own these 2 Game Boy Advance SPs. Well, even that's technically a lie. This one is my wife's brother. His system. But I have these 2 Game Boy SPs, and then I have a regular Game Boy Advance. But I don't have a 4th option. I should have bought, like, a Game Boy Micro before doing this series. Mostly just because I don't have one, and I think it'd be cool to own a Game Boy Micro. Because I have every other Game Boy console, I think. No, that's also a lie. Sorry, I'm just lying a lot tonight. I love telling my little lies. I'll try to go through the Game Boy lineup in order to fully explain the consoles I have and don't have. So the first ever Game Boy, the original Game Boy, I do not have. Do not have that Game Boy. However, the Game Boy... What is it called, actually? Oh my god. I own it, and I don't know what it's called. Hold on, we're Googling this. Game Boy console line. God dang it. That's not what I wanted. Give me, like, a wiki article. Not some stupid news article that's asking me to turn on cookies just so they can play a million pop-up ads. The Game Boy Light. Yes, I have that. Okay, so... Okay. So I don't have the original Game Boy. I do have the Game Boy Pocket, the Game Boy Light, the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP, but I don't have the Game Boy Micro. That's actually kind of funny. I'm missing the first ever Game Boy and the last ever Game Boy. But I have everything else in between. And for that reason, I've kind of always wanted to buy a Game Boy Micro just to say that I have it, just to add it to the collection. And if I do buy a Game Boy Micro, then technically we could swap out one of the DSs for a Game Boy Micro. Because I'm not gonna lie, as much as I love the DS as a system, and it will forever probably be my favorite system. I mean, my favorite system of all time right now is the new 3DS XL. But the DS, no, not even the DSi. You know, honestly, it might be the regular DS. It's a close call. So here's my logic, and here's how my preferences kind of work. Currently, if I had to answer the question of what is your favorite video game system of all time, if I really had to pick one system, I would say the 3DS XL Generation 2, or the new 3DS XL as it's called, but I think that's such a stupid name. And the reason I would pick that is because not only can it play both 3DS and DS games, but it also has like the best processing power of any 3DS, considering it was the last 3DS system ever made. That makes sense. And it, I think, has the best form factor. I mean, it is an XL model, so it's pretty big and it fits well in your hands, and the screen is a good enough size where you don't feel like you have to use binoculars and lean in just to see what's going on screen. But the main reason I love the new 3DS XL is just because I can play both DS games and 3DS games. However, I also love the original DS because it can play both DS games and Game Boy games. And I am a sucker for Game Boy games. And maybe that's just because that was the era I grew up in. The first video games I ever played when I was a kid were Game Boy games, because that's what was popular when I was growing up. That's what was new at the time. I do love Game Boy games, and that's the reason I don't actually like the DSi more than the original DS. I know a lot of people love the DSi. The DSi has some die-hard fans online, so me saying that I don't like the DSi could get me crucified, admittedly. But I like the original DS because it can play Game Boy games. And if I had to pick between the two models that can play Game Boy games, which I coincidentally have sitting in front of me, the regular DS or the DS Lite, I might pick the regular DS. Because I think it feels better in hand, and it also feels sturdier. The DS Lite, coincidentally, feels light. It feels almost cheap. And I also kind of hate how the Game Boy game sticks out of the bottom. Whereas on the regular DS, it's flush with the system. This just feels a little too cheap for me. Don't like the way it is in hand. So, yeah, it's tough to say. Like, again, if I had to pick, my favorite video game console of all time would be the new 3DS XL. Love this thing to death. But in a close second place would be the original DS. And if I ever got stranded on like an abandoned island and I could pick 3 things to come with me, it would be my wife, the new 3DS XL, and the original DS. Because with this thing, I can play 3DS and DS games, and with this thing, I can play DS and Game Boy games. And therefore, all of my bases are covered. That's all I need. That's all a man needs to be happy. He needs his wife, his 3DS, and his DS. And that's it. I'm a simple man, really. Anyways. I like how I said I need to be more efficient and start, like, speed running through these resets. Like, at the pace we're going, this stream's going to take 4 hours. And I know that. I said that out loud. I acknowledged that. And then about 2 minutes after... 2 minutes after I said that I was going to try to be a bit quicker and focus on the shiny hunt, I take a break to talk about the 3DS. But I just love the 3DS. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. Alright, I can't help it. Oh my god, no. I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Everything's gone wrong. The shiny hunt has come to a standstill. Alright, I promise we're not going to get distracted anymore. I'm going to focus on the shiny hunt. I've just gotten distracted so many times tonight. I got distracted to make a joke, a stupid joke, in MS Paint. I got distracted to look up the lore of Game Boy systems. And then I got distracted talking about my love for the 3DS. It's 3 times in 90 minutes. I've gotten distracted from the actual point of tonight's stream. Promise. I'll focus. I know we got like 300 resets to go before I end the stream, but I'm gonna get those 300 resets done faster than these forced to for. God damn it, bro! I can't speak in a straight line tonight. I know we have 300 resets left, but I promise I'm gonna do these 300 resets faster than the first 200. It took us 90 minutes to do 200 resets. I'm going to do the next 345. That actually might not be possible, but we're going to try. That's how determined I am. That's how locked in I am. Alright. We officially hit 200 for the stream. Let's get it. Quickly distract him more. Listen, if you really want to distract me, we can talk about, like, I don't know, my favorite Final Fantasy games ever. It'd be kind of fitting, considering we're listening to Final Fantasy music right now. It would be applicable. You know what else we can talk about? And this kind of circles back to the whole conversation of food. I don't know if anyone else was participating in the McDonald's Monopoly game. I wasn't really taking it that seriously. Like, the odds of winning something good from the McDonald's Monopoly game was so crazy. It was so bad. It almost felt like a scam. So, I'll quickly explain what it is for anyone who doesn't know. McDonald's was running a campaign associated with the board game Monopoly, as you can tell. Where if you bought certain products off of their menu, those food items would grant you a Monopoly game piece. And sometimes it would come in the form of an actual physical sticker on, the box of your Big Mac. Or you would get a digital game piece. If you bought a caramel frappe, you're not gonna get a sticker just kind of stuck into the whipped cream at the top of the frap. As funny as that would be. And there were a lot of, like, big ticket, expensive things you could win. And I'm purposefully using the word win in quotation marks. Because if you collected certain pieces, you could get a trip to Universal, or a Jeep Grand Cherokee, or, for one lucky person, you could get $1 million. But the odds of winning those things were, like, actually insane. Like, I think for the car, it was either 100 million or 200 million. I forget the exact odds. But the odds of winning the car was, like, 1 in 200 million. And because the odds were so insane, a lot of the prizes didn't even get claimed. Like, they were giving away 5 free cars. Only 1 has been claimed as of now. And sure, maybe someone's just holding on to their ticket for good luck. I don't know. Maybe someone hasn't claimed their prize, but I doubt that's the case. I think McDonald's made the odds so insanely difficult and unlikely on purpose. So instead of giving away 5 free cars, they only had to give away 1. Like I said, the odds were crazy. But I wasn't playing the McDonald's Monopoly game to win a free car. All right? I didn't expect to win a free car. I know that I'm not 1 in a million, let alone 1 in 200 million. I was playing the McDonald's Monopoly reward for the free rewards. Yes, I see it. You said the same thing in the chat. Yeah, so you could get free rewards every day because, and I think it's just a legal thing. Like, if you run a sweepstakes like that in America, there has to be a free way to enter. And I don't know if it's because McDonald's is like a... I actually don't know why they have to have a free version. Whether it be that they're like running a sweepstakes or because they're a large company. I don't know. But some sort of consumer law makes that a requirement. And I'm very glad it was a requirement. So I would just enter in my free rewards every day, and it resulted in me getting a ton of free food. The problem now, though, is a lot of that free food is going to expire soon, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to redeem it all in time. Because any rewards you got from the McDonald's Monopoly expires and is no longer valid on November 23rd. So I've got like 10 breakfast sandwiches, 20 small fries, a bunch of ice cream cones and apple pies, and I don't think I'm going to be able to use them all by the 23rd. But I did get a lot of free food, which I'm very happy about. Because similar to you, Sam, I had a ton of free entries. I made sure to get my free rewards. But now, I fear that I overdid it, because I'm not going to be able to use all that food before the 23rd, before those free rewards expire. Hey, what's up, Drac? I got a shiny Tapu Koko the other day. You know what's sad? And maybe this is just showing how out of touch I am with the Pokemon community. I can't think of which one Tapu Koko is. I know, like, what it is. I know what, I guess, collection of Pokemon it belongs to, because it's technically like a legendary or mythical Pokemon. I don't know. I always get those terms mixed up. I just call everything legendary. Any Pokemon that is mythical, legendary, or like pseudo-legendary, it's just legendary in my brain. But like, I cannot think of what legendary Tapu Koko is specifically. Like, what it looks like. Actually. Can't imagine that in my brain right now. They didn't explain the digital ones well. I agree. McDonald's was very, very bad at providing proper instructions and statistics on the Monopoly game. And I also feel like they dropped the ball with the physical game pieces as well. Because most Monopoly tickets were like sold out. I worded that weird. Let me rephrase that sentence. Most McDonald's locations had run out of Monopoly game pieces. So if you did go there, bought a Big Mac, and were hoping to get a physical game piece, physical sticker, attached to the box of that Big Mac, you wouldn't get one. Because a lot of the McDonald's had just been completely sold out of those physical game pieces. Which I also think is insane. Like, It really does feel like a scam if you look at it by the numbers. Because how did they run out of game pieces? But only one of the 5 free cars got claimed. You know what I mean? Like you would think if every single game piece was purchased and all of them were distributed, realistically then, all 5 cars should have been claimed. Yet for some reason, somehow, some way, only one of the 5 free cars got claimed? That doesn't make sense. I do think it was a little bit of a scam. I believe that. Like, the fact that only one free car was given away, or I don't remember how many people could win the trip to Universal. I think it was maybe 10. And I know 10 people didn't win the trip to Universal. Because, again, they while they tried to hide the statistics and the numbers and the rules behind fine print and very sneakily hidden links, the one thing you could access pretty easily were the rewards people claimed. And therefore, it's pretty much common knowledge that only one of the 5 free cars were claimed, or, 4 of the 10 all expenses paid trips to Universal were claimed. And that just feels like a scam to me. If they supposedly distributed every game piece, and the McDonald's locations, at least the ones around me, had ran out of game pieces. They were completely sold out. I don't know. But besides the fact that it's a scam, the one thing that I did get to take advantage of, the one thing that I did get to benefit off of, were those free rewards. And I have so many free rewards. Like I said, I'm definitely not going to be able to use them all by the time they expire on November 23rd. God dang it, this one fell behind again. I get so annoyed when this happens, when the games get out of sync. The free version of the McDonald's Monopoly game was for broke people. You're not wrong, Jack. I didn't get any pools because I didn't go to McDonald's during that time. Yeah, it was only for a couple weeks recently. I mean, I didn't even know about it for like the first week. I kind of missed out for like the first week of the rewards because I didn't know what was going on. So I wasn't getting my free rewards. I wasn't submitting my little requests for those free rewards. So I was a little late to the game, and yet I still got like 1 million rewards for free. It also didn't help you could only claim 1 free thing per order. Yeah, they did make it a little stingy. I mean, in some ways, I understand, because they can't make the free rewards unlimited. Because then you'd have people with 2,000 free breakfast sandwiches and 4,000 free small fries. But it did feel a little stingy how few rewards you could get for free. And again, I realize that might sound a little selfish, but oh, boo-hoo, I'm trying to get free food from McDonald's. Like, that company can survive. It'll survive if I have 10 breakfast sandwiches or 100 breakfast sandwiches for free. I just want a free breakfast sandwich. Yeah, I'm not going to cry over a massive corporation potentially losing money because I was trying to game the system and get as much free food as possible. You have to access the rules just to be able to receive the form. Yeah, it was so sneaky, Sam. Like, they were trying to hide that shit from people. For sure. Tapu Koko is a legendary from Sun and Moon that looks like it would be a part of a totem pole. Yeah, like I said, I can picture what those legendaries look like from Sun and Moon. I know what they all look like. I just don't know which one is which. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I have no clue which is which. They all kind of blend together in my head. But at the same time, to be fair, Sun and Moon are the games that I think I've played the least and therefore know the least about. Especially now that we played Legends ZA. Because before Legends ZA came out, I also had pretty lacking knowledge of the Kalos region. At least I didn't have many memories associated with X and Y. X and Y were pretty forgettable games to me. But now that we play Legends ZA, I feel like it kind of helped to refresh my knowledge and also give me a ton of bonus lore about the Kalos region. So I do feel pretty well versed in the Kalos region now. But the Alola region, hands down, that's the one I know the least about. After ZA came out, Alola moved down to last place. Kalos went up on the totem pole. Alola went down to the bottom. I know nothing about the Alola region. Sun and Moon were two games that didn't really impress me much. I actually found them kind of boring. The pacing was just so off. And therefore, could not tell you for the life of me which one of those totem legendaries Tapu Koko is. Oh wait, you put it in the chat. Tapu Koko has an orange mohawk. Okay, I think I know which one you're talking about now. December 10th is when the DLC comes out for ZA. I don't think I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna be honest. Legends ZA didn't disappoint me, but it also didn't impress me. I finished that game feeling kind of torn, and my rating of it is a little middling as a result. I mean, we've talked about this before. I know it's a little redundant for us to go on that whole conversation again, talk about my feelings about the game again, but I don't know, man. I think the game was amazing in a lot of ways, but also super disappointing in a lot of ways. So it just kind of averages out to fine. It was good, but it could have been great. And that makes me sad. What could have been? In another universe, another timeline. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna get the DLC for Legends ZA because the game has low-key left me feeling conflicted, and I don't want to spend more money on a game just to potentially feel even more conflicted. Like, if I'm going to spend extra for a game, give more of my money to a game, it's got to be a damn good game. Have you seen Mega Chime Echo? I have. I had it spoiled to me on Twitter, but like I said, I'm not that upset. I don't really plan on buying the DLC, so I don't mind having content from the DLC spoiled to me. Mega Chime Echo does look pretty cool, though. I actually kind of like it. What are your thoughts? How do we feel about Mega Chime Echo in the chat? I'm curious. You can get your Pokemon over level 100 temporarily? What? Is that something from the DLC? I did not hear about that. Or is that just something in the post game? How do you do that? That sounds so weird. It sounds like it breaks the normal conventions of Pokemon. Oh my god, I can't imagine how that would affect, like, the battle meta. Like, if that's something that you could do in competitive Pokemon, competitive battles, that's gonna completely break the competitive Pokemon community. It's in the DLC. Okay. I figured as much. I was gonna say, I haven't heard about that in the actual game. Okay. You know, I'll be honest with you boys. I think I'm too heavily relying on looking for the shiny symbol on the screen. Because in these games, if a Pokemon's shiny, it'll have a little star on the screen. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. I might not be able to find one quickly, though. In which case, I'll just, I don't know, give up and go back to playing the game. Shiny symbol. Images. Yeah, it's in, like, the top right. Yeah, I think I'm relying a little bit too much on catching that symbol. Because I'll be honest, I have not been paying attention to the actual Charmander on screen and, like, looking at the color of the Charmander. Though, to be fair, shiny Charmander is barely different. It's practically the same color. And that's partially why I'm looking for the shiny symbol instead of looking at the color of the Charmander. But I think that's a little bit of a lazy mentality. I should probably look at both. I should probably be just checking all my boxes and double checking all of our Charmander before we reset. Baxcalibur is also getting a Mega. I'm assuming you mean Excalibur, however you pronounce it, however you spell it. And it changes as much as Mega Starmie changes. Comparing it to Mega Starmie has me very intrigued. Yeah, Pokemon will become rogue like for the DLC. At least that's what I'm thinking. Interesting. I mean, at least that kind of makes sense in, like, the lore of the game then, how they would get over level 100. That's still kind of crazy. I don't know, man. Just the concept of Pokemon getting above level 100 is kind of breaking my brain right now. I'm really vibing to this music. It's almost too relaxing though, because like I said, I'm tired right now. I worked a 10-hour shift today, and coming home and listening to this music, it's almost like putting me to sleep, bro. I feel like I'm being lulled into dreamland. You know what? Saying the word dreamland made me think about the fact that I don't think we've ever played a Kirby game on live stream. Bro, we gotta play a Kirby game at some point. They're pretty easy too, like, they're usually pretty quick games. Like, we could beat a Kirby game in one stream. A lot of Kirby games can probably be beaten in one stream. We gotta play a Kirby game here in the future. 100%. Excuse me, I have hiccups. I'm gonna start thinking about that. I honestly might start planning out at least one Kirby game for us to play here in the future. I know I own a couple of them on the Game Boy. Yeah, we might be playing a Kirby game here in the near future. I also, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure there's a couple Kirby games on NSO. Like, if I just boot up Nintendo Switch Online on my Switch right now, I could play a couple Kirby games. I'm thinking, boys. I'm planning this out in my head. Remember how I said I was going to pay more attention to the Charmanders? I have not been doing that. I gotta be honest with you guys, I really am treating this far too casually. Like, I'm just looking for the star symbol. I should be looking at everything. Looking for the symbol, looking at the Charmanders, making sure I double check my work before I turn these systems off. I think I'm just getting complicit because we're thousands of resets in now. And it's becoming more and more difficult for me to just be vigilant as I get increasingly more and more bored. But, like, I don't even have an excuse to be bored yet. The odds are 1 in 8,000. I'm not allowed to be bored until we hit, like, 10,000. Until we hit the 5 digits. I knew what I was signing up for, right? I knew what I was getting into. I should know better, honestly. I'm just such an impatient person. Vigilance, yeah. That's how you know I got the Hershey Park mentality still stuck in my brain. It was drilled into me. Gotta be vigilant. Make sure you check the launch track before sending the train. Don't want to turn any ducks into a cloud of red mist. You know? Wouldn't want to turn a beautiful blue mallard into a harsh cloud of red mist. Sorry. So grotesque. No, yeah. Working at an amusement park really got the word vigilance just drilled into my head. I'll never be able to think of that word without associating it with, like, operating roller coasters. It's almost like a little bit of trauma associated with that word. I won't be able to say that word and not think of her face, you know? That type of shit. Alright, we're getting close to 300. You know, if you think about it, we really just gotta lock in. And if we do lock in, then we'll be done in like 20 minutes. Totally. I have a strategy that I think will help us make less mistakes. I'll explain it here in the next reset. Give me one moment. Let me just double check that these are not shiny. Okay. Alright. So, normally, when I reset these systems, I switch between the A and B button a couple times. And I think that might be what's causing us to make some mistakes. Is when I switch between the buttons, I'm either doing it too early, too late, or I'm just switching to the wrong button. So here's what I would normally do. I'll show you. start by just pressing the A button on all the systems. Press A, press A, press A, and then once we get to the screen where it shows us like what we previously did in the game, then I press B because it skips that cutscene. Then back to A to pick Charmander. And then when Professor Oak asks us if we want to nickname our Charmander, press B to avoid that screen. And continue just spamming B to get through Gary's dialogue real quick. After that, we'll go into the menu and check and see if any of our Charmanders are shiny. Which they are not. However, what I'm gonna start doing, at least what I think might be better, is I'm gonna cut out one of those switches between the A and B button. Specifically, I'm going to only press the A button for this opening part. So once these two DSs load in, we can press the A button, skip the opening cutscene, load into our save file, and then we're just going to continue to spam A through that black and white screen right there. That way we're switching between A and B one less time, and therefore cutting out a possibility of us making a mistake there. It might make these resets like 1 or 2 seconds slower, but I think in the long run, we'll save time because we're making less mistakes when it comes to what buttons we're pressing when. And we'll definitely save mistakes when it comes to switching back and forth between buttons and pressing the wrong buttons as a result. I feel like my back hurts during these streams because I'm like leaning over the desk, looking down at these 4 consoles, and I don't have like anything supporting my lower back. Like I need to sit back in the chair. I need to sit in the chair, actually have the chair against my back. But then if I do that, I'm too far away from the screens to see them. I don't know. I need to find a comfortable sitting position for these streams, because it really does fuck up my back. It's also part of the reason why, like, I don't do these streams for very long. I usually only do, like, 2 or 3 hours. Because my back just starts to hurt. Bro, where did the music go? There it is. that timing was kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. I was about to go open the playlist and see if something glitched out, see if something went wrong. I do like this new strategy, actually. I think this is how we're going to run it moving forward. I still have the possibility of making a mistake when I switch between the A and B button after grabbing the Charizard and... Charmander. Soon to be Charizard. But I risked the possibility of making a mistake after we select Charmander, but before Professor Oak asks us to nickname it, because I don't want to go into that nicknaming screen. But again, I made the mistake of pressing the B button too early, which then cancels our selection of Charmander. But the window of time, and more specifically the amount of dialogue boxes you have between those two things, is enough where as long as I'm paying attention, I shouldn't make that mistake. So, honestly, if we're smart, we could cut out like all the mistakes we're making. Problem is, I'm not the smartest man. Soon is subjective. I guess you're right, brother. I also worry that I'm going to just completely wear down the A and B buttons on these consoles because of how much I'm spamming them. I'm too lazy, and also I think it would just add way too much time to only press the buttons when I need to. You know what I mean? Like, let's do a quick reset to show you an example. Only pressing the button one time when I need to. We're going for minimum button presses, alright? We're going to try to beat Super Mario 64 with 0 A presses. So that was 2 presses there on the DS's to get through the menu screen there, the home screen. And then once all 4 games are loaded up, we press A once to get to this opening screen. Press A again to skip that cutscene. Press A again to select start. Press A again to get through the file select screen. Press B to skip that previously on Total Drama Island cutscene. Press A once. Again, select Charmander. Oh, I have to press A there. That's awkward. Okay, now we press B. We do not want to nickname Charmander. We'll press B to get through Gary's text. And now we're done. But, like, to do that, it takes so much more time and takes so much more of my focus, which we've already established tonight. I don't have much focus to begin with. I'm not locked in. And to do all that just to press the buttons less and give my controllers maybe a longer lifespan. You know, these buttons might be rated for 50 million presses, but during these shiny hunts, we're pressing them about 1 million times each stream. So I don't expect these buttons to last a lifetime, that's for sure. But it's just so much quicker. Like, look, I'm gonna spam the buttons, and I get through all these screens so much faster. So much easier. Switch to the B button. Start spamming the B button. And just like that, we're done. Look at that. So easy. I might be slowly killing the switches on my A and B buttons. But at least I'm not wasting my time. I think I found a somewhat comfortable position to sit in. My back is starting to hurt a little less. I'm also just getting old, though. So that doesn't help my back pain problems. Dude, this music is so good. Oh, shoot. I got distracted by the music and pressed the wrong button. Literally right after I just finished a whole conversation, a whole topic about not pressing the wrong button and making less mistakes. I look up at my monitor because we got a really good song on the playlist. I wanted to see what the song was called, just as a little refresher, even though I know what song it is. You know what I mean? Like, you guys ever do that? You get a really good song that pops up on the playlist, and you look at the screen just to reminisce, just to appreciate it. You know what song it is, you know what you're listening to, but you want to pay proper respect to that song. But of course, I look up at the screen, and by the time I look back down, I pressed the wrong button on the Game Boy. God dang it. That's why I would switch buttons on the DS between B and A, so wouldn't be hitting the A button the entire time. That's smart. That's very smart. Hopefully it'll save your buttons from not dying as quickly. Not wearing down. Okay. Come on, turn off. There's just something special about Final Fantasy music, bro. It's so good. Soundtracks for Final Fantasy take me mentally, spiritually, to another world. Especially Final Fantasy IX. There's something just truly special about that soundtrack, bro. And you know, now that I'm thinking about it, speaking of games we haven't played on stream, we were just talking a little bit ago about how I haven't played a Kirby game on stream. I've never beaten a Final Fantasy game on stream. I've never finished one. Now, to be fair, the 2 Final Fantasy games I have played on stream were years ago, back when I was notorious for not finishing video games. I think back when I first started streaming, I beat less games than I didn't beat. Like, if I started a new series on my stream back in, like, 2018, there's a real good chance I wasn't finishing that series. But there are 2 Final Fantasy games I have played on stream back then. Like I said, a long, long time ago. And one of them was Final Fantasy III, which I did not get very far into. Coincidentally, though, I ended up beating it off stream during COVID. I would be sitting in like one of my Zoom classes. This is like peak COVID, when everything was online. I would be sitting in one of my Zoom classes, and that would be on my main monitor. Professor yapping in my ear, trying to take notes. But in reality, on my second monitor, I would just be playing Final Fantasy III. Like, I'll be honest, I probably only beat Final Fantasy III. Like, low-key, the only reason we finished that game is because of COVID and me just wanting to pass the time while I was in class. Me wanting to do something, anything, to distract myself from the boredom that was Zoom classes. But yeah, I started Final Fantasy III on stream. I think I live streamed it 2 times, max. Maximum 2 live streams of that game. And yeah, obviously did not finish it on camera. I also played Final Fantasy IX on stream, and I did get a little bit further into that game, but I still didn't beat it. And coincidentally, I also played that game off stream. So we have never completed a Final Fantasy game on stream. As embarrassed as I am to admit that, maybe we gotta play a Final Fantasy game here soon as well. I don't know, though. We're adding a lot of games to our to-do list. Like, we gotta play a Kirby game here soon. We're gonna play a DS game here soon. I want to play a Final Fantasy game eventually. I'm maybe putting too much on my plate, but that's okay. You know, we'll spread it out. We'll try to balance it evenly into our stream schedule. Okay. No shinies. Big sad. I wonder what the mathematical odds are of getting like 2 shinies on the same reset. Or even crazier, I wonder what like the mathematical odds are of getting 4 shinies on all 4 consoles on the same reset. Like, I can't even begin to guess what that math would be statistically. And part of the reason I thought about that, the reason I brought it up, is because I saw a clip get pretty popular recently. God dang it. That's what happens when I get distracted. I press the wrong buttons. I'm so mad at myself, bro. I'm not made for this. I can't lock in. It's not possible for me to lock in, boys. I don't know how to lock in. No, yeah. I saw a clip get pretty popular recently. And I know it was popular because I saw it on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Twitter. All on, like, different days. It's been making the rounds. And it was this dude who was shiny hunting for a mudkip in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. One of those games. And he kept resetting back to the beginning of the game when you select your mudkip out of Professor... Why do I not remember his name? I don't think it's Elm. Maybe it's Elm. I don't care. He was doing a shiny hunt where you'd collect Birch. It is Birch. You're so right. Oh my god. I should know that, bro. Pokemon Ruby was my first ever video game. First video game I ever owned. First video game I ever beat. Oh my god. Something's wrong with me, sorry. I'm having a meltdown. Having a panic attack. I'm having a panic attack. I'm having a panic attack. Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. Sorry. Let me restart that topic. I saw this clip get really popular of this dude who was shiny hunting mudkip in Generation 3. And he's constantly resetting during that opening scene where Professor Birch is being chased around by a Zigzagoon. And you gotta select a starter to save him. And he resets, he picks Mudkip. And as the battle starts, you see the Zigzagoon scroll onto the screen first. And it's a shiny Zigzagoon. And immediately he gets annoyed. And I would be annoyed too. Because, like, technically you have the same odds of your starter being shiny. And it's the same odds of the wild Pokemon you have to battle being shiny. So, like, if I was in his shoes, my mind would immediately go to the false logic of, well, they gave the shiny to the Zigzagoon, now I'm never going to get the shiny. My shiny odds just got reset back to 1. But then he throws his Mudkip out into battle to take on that Zigzagoon. And the Mudkip is shiny as well. And he put a graphic up on the screen. And I think it was like 1 in... No, I'm going to remember... Not remember. See, this is the problem. My memory's so bad. The odds were either 1 in 6 million or 1 in 60 million. I forget how many zeros there were. Dude, my memory sucks. Anyways, the odds were crazy. In the millions. And I believe it. Like, the odds of both the wild Zigzagoon and the Mudkip you select as your starter being shiny, insane. And that's what made me think about this shiny hunt that we're doing right now. Like, I'm genuinely curious what the odds of finding 2 shiny Charmander on the same reset would be. Or what the odds of finding all 4 Charmander as shinies on the same reset. Like, I imagine all 4 could be as high as the billions. Yeah, I guess we could do the math like right now, low-key. It's so insanely low. Yeah. Give me 1 sec. Pokemon Gen 3 shiny odds. 1 in 8,192. Do you need me to do the calculations? Nah, I think I can do it pretty quickly. Give me 1 sec. Dude, why won't Windows open my taskbar? Oh my god. I hate Windows 11 with a burning passion. The taskbar just never works nowadays. Half the time I have a full screen application open, it won't let me open the taskbar. But then the other times I try using the taskbar, it'll pop up and then never go away. Just permanent taskbar on my screen for the rest of eternity. Alright, so technically... Wait, I'm bad at math. 1 divided by 8192. You know, maybe you should do the math. Someone in chat should probably do the math, because I am far too bad at math to realize what that decimal point would be. Converting that decimal into a whole number, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. And you know, I can admit that. I can admit my weaknesses, my faults. Yeah, but I'll be honest, I don't think I can do that. At least not while also streaming and playing a video game at the same time. We'd have to put the stream on pause for like 5 minutes for me to figure out that math. My back just cracked when I stretched my arms. Like, I went like this, and I heard my back crack in like 3 different places. And I can't tell if I'm going to feel better or worse after that. I think we'll find out in a couple minutes here. Also, I feel like when I was talking about that last topic we were discussing, while I was commentating and getting distracted, I made so many mistakes back to back to back. Like, we messed up like 5 resets in a row. And that just shows you how much of a struggle this shiny hunt has been for me. I also just think, you know, maybe I'm not the best at playing a game very seriously, super focused on a video game, and talking to chat at the same time. But maybe this is good practice. This is the practice I need to do something serious that requires like my tactile attention and talking to chat at the same time. This will help me develop that skill. It is 0.003% for all of them to be shiny at the same time. But what does that calculate to in a whole number? See, because I could have probably got to that math, but I don't know how to convert that to a whole number. That's what I need help with. That's where my mathematical skill kind of stops. I think you guys are getting a full display of the fact that I was an English major. That's being put on blast right now. English major, not a math major. In fact, and I don't know if I've ever told this story on stream before. No, okay. I understand that that technically is a whole number, but I mean, like, if you convert that to the opposite, like, would that be 1 in 3 million? 1 in 300 million? 1 in 3 billion? I can't... I feel like I'm just embarrassing myself admitting these things. Like, it's just showing how bad I am at math, which is embarrassing. Like, what would that percentage be? Would it be 3 million, 30 million, 300 million, 3 billion? Like, one of those numbers. God, I didn't press the key button enough. yeah. I very obviously was an English major, which I believe is quite literally the opposite of math. I don't know if there's a more polar opposite degree to math than English. Maybe like dance. No, because even in dance you need to have rhythm and you need to kind of move in a cadence with the beat of the music. So you probably have to think about math a little bit in dance. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that would be more polar opposite than math. So it would be 1 in 32,768. I don't know why, but that doesn't sound right. What? Is it really? I'm not saying I don't believe you. That just seems too low. You know what I mean? Oh, but I was sorry. I started a story and then I didn't finish it. And this is a story I don't know if I've ever told on my live stream before. At least I don't think I've ever said this before. So, when I started at my college, my university, I had to take a couple prerequisite. Oh my gosh. For some reason I like stumbled over that word. I had to take a couple prerequisite tests. And I think partially the reason I had to do that was because I went to a liberal arts college. So pretty much any degree you picked, any curriculum you took, you were going to have to do a variety of gen ed classes. For example, I was an English major, but I had to take at least 2 history classes. And I think I took US history and anthropology. And I had to take at least 2 science classes. I ended up taking world ocean and biology. And in my world ocean class specifically, I would sit in like the back of this huge auditorium. It was one of the only classes I took that was in one of those stereotypical college auditoriums where it has like 200 seats. You've got at least 100 students in that class. And I would sit in the back of the auditorium in my world ocean class and boot up my laptop to look like I was taking notes, and instead I was playing Stardew Valley. Like, I literally had a Stardew Valley farm called World Ocean because I only played it in World Ocean. I never played that farm before taking that class, never played that farm outside of that class, and I have never played that farm since finishing that class. I also used my World Ocean Stardew Valley farm to unlock the Joja achievement, which is a very despicable, evil achievement, where you have to donate your money to the Joja Corporation instead of, working towards the community center. And eventually, once you give Joja enough money, they actually overtake the community center and they turn the community center into like a Joja factory. It's evil. It's literally the bad ending of Stardew Valley, but it's an achievement, so I wanted to unlock it. And therefore, instead of doing that in my main playthrough of the game, because I refused to be a simp for the Joja Corporation in my main playthrough of the game, I unlocked that achievement in my World Ocean farm in that playthrough of the game. Anyways, I keep getting off on these weird little side rants, these little tangents. How did we get here? Oh, yeah, so I had to take 2 history classes, had to take 2 science classes. And then, even though I was an English major, I had to take 2 math classes. And in order for my college to determine what math classes I should enroll in, prior to starting as a freshman, during my orientation weekend, the weekend before classes begin, and they're parading the freshmen around campus like a gaggle of ducks following Mother Goose, like just putting us on display as fresh meat. During that orientation weekend, they had us take a math test, kind of a placement test. And the questions on that test ranged from anywhere as easy to addition, what is 5 plus 6? And the questions got as difficult as like calculus. And I knew the answers to a lot of those questions because my senior year of high school, I took calculus 2. So that was technically like the most difficult math class I got to. That was my peak, you know? To use it in gamer terms, that was my peak rank. All right? I peaked at Plat 2. And therefore, I'd taken calculus 1 and 2, I'd taken geometry, all that kind of stuff. And I knew a lot of the questions on that test. However, I did not want to get placed in a difficult math class as an English major. Like, to me, it felt like I would have been doing myself a disservice and making my life far more difficult by being put in, like, a calculus math class. Once again, as an English major. Like, that's stupid. As an English major, I should not need any math classes. The fact that they were forcing me to take 2 in the first place, stupid. So, and I'm a little ashamed to admit this, but I'll be honest with y'all, I purposefully failed that placement exam. Like, I was purposefully getting questions wrong, like, what is 5 times 5? I think the only questions I allowed myself to get correct were addition and subtraction. But anything that was more difficult than addition and subtraction, anything that was like multiplication, division, let alone like the calculus questions, I purposefully got all of them wrong. And then I got placed in literally the easiest math class. The name of the class was Mathematics 101. And they were teaching things like addition, subtraction, multiplication. Like the most basic stuff was being taught in that class. And needless to say, I passed that class easily. That was another class that I would show up to and just not pay attention. It was a very small class, though. Kind of unsurprisingly, because you would expect at a collegiate level that most people would know how to do like addition and subtraction. That class was like 20 students, 10 of them people who I'm just convinced had never seen any number greater than a single digit before in their life. And I don't want to be too mean to these people, okay? I'm not trying to like shame them intellectually. But like 10 of the students in that class definitely needed it. They needed to learn addition, subtraction, multiplication. The other 10 students in that class were people like me who I'm pretty sure all purposefully flunked that exam because they weren't, you know, they weren't math majors, they weren't business majors, they weren't finance majors, they don't need math. So the other half of the class was very obviously just like me and purposefully failed the placement exam. And you know, I'm not proud to admit it. Like, I don't think I've ever told that story on stream before because it is definitely embarrassing, you know? One of those do as I say, not as I do type stories. But at the same time, I don't want to be a role model. I think that is the worst. The worst life I could try to live. And you know, content creators shouldn't be role models either. You'll get a lot of streamers and YouTubers who like try to be role models to their audience. And oftentimes those people get exposed as being the scummiest human beings. Like predators or adulterers. Sorry, using the word adulterer in a serious connotation is a little funny. But you know what? I'm standing by it because I think if you're a cheater, you're a scumbag. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. And it's so easy to not cheat, you know? Literally just break up with a person before you go sleep with someone else. It's that easy. Like, if you're thinking to yourself, I'm dating someone, or I'm married, but I really want to go fuck my coworker, then at least have the common courtesy of sending them a text right before you take your clothes off. Just like, hey, it's not working out. I want to break up. And then you can go fucking match pissers with Deborah in accounting. But I genuinely have no respect for people that cheat, and I think cheating is like one of the scummiest things you can do. It's actually, here's as far as I'll go, because obviously it's not as bad as like murdering a baby, I guess. But what I will say is I think cheating is the scummiest, like most evil thing you can do that is legal. How did we get on this topic? See, I keep going down these stupid little rabbit holes, and I lose the plot entirely of what we were talking about. A lot of streamers try to like prop themselves up as a role model for their audiences, and then oftentimes they'll just get exposed as like the worst people ever, whether that be cheating or like, scamming their audience, or if you're a Minecraft YouTuber, pedophilia. But like I said, I don't think content creators should be role models in the first place. That's the opposite of what I want to be. A lot of the shit I tell you about on stream, a lot of the stories I share with y'all, you should do the opposite. I'm just trying to make entertaining content. And oftentimes, entertainment is the opposite of being a role model. Yeah, so that's the last thing I want to be, actually. 5 times 5 is 55. You're so right. And that's the answer I put down when doing my placement exam. So, roughly all Charmanders being shiny is 1 in 22 quintillion? That's way more believable. Still shocking, but more believable than 32,000. That's insane. So what you're saying is, if I somehow manage to get all 4 shinies on the same reset, I will have achieved the greatest thing in human existence, right? The greatest accomplishment. Oh my god, just kidding. I'm never going to be able to get 4 shinies because I can't even press the correct buttons at the correct times. I keep messing up these stupid resets. So basically what we're going for is not a shiny Charmander. That's not the objective of this stream. We're not going for a shiny Charmander. We're going for the greatest statistical achievement in human history. That's my goal, actually, with this live stream. I'm trying to not just break the internet, I'm trying to break the universe. I want to be a statistic. In a good way. I didn't need to do this math in the Navy. I was more in distance. You know, that's fair, brother. That is entirely understandable. We're almost done here, though. Only 60 Charmanders left before we end the stream. You know, it'd be really cool if we just got the shiny right at the end of the stream. End the stream on a good note. And you know, I say that all the time. That's been a running bit that I say in almost every shiny hunting stream. I've been saying that back in like 2020 when I first started shiny hunting. But it never happens. We've only gotten a shiny one time in the 5 years we've been shiny hunting at the end of a stream. Fuck, I keep pressing the wrong button. Okay. I have one objective actually for this stream. And it's not to find the shiny. It's not to get a 1 in 22 quintillion accomplishment. My objective for the rest of the stream is to just not make any more mistakes. Because we've made so many tonight, and it's slowed down the shiny hunt to a crawl. And I'm so sorry. I do actually apologize, because I don't want to, you know, make the content worse for you guys. I do, however, blame it on the fact that we worked 10 hours today, and I came home from work feeling like a shell of my former self. But no, that's our objective for the rest of the stream, actually. It's just no more mistakes. That's all. I think we can do it. I'm gonna focus. I promise. Hi, Abby. It's wonderful to see you. I think you're a really pretty girl. I got 72 charmanders left, but divide that by 4. I'm not good at math, so I'm gonna trust you to do that. Go again. I definitely have been loving this music tonight, though. I'm so glad we put on Final Fantasy music tonight. This music has just been so serene, so relaxing. It's been beautiful. I don't know what game this is from. I'm not going to pause the shiny hunt to look, though. Like I said, I'm focused. I searched up 432-1000 and got the Bank of America phone number. Okay. Why not, you know? Make a new bank account with them. Set up a new account. Fuck it. Alright, boys. I'm optimistic. I'm so confident we're getting a shiny here. I know we have no control over that. And if anything, Pokemon's probably gonna actively do everything it can to stop us from accomplishing that. The game just knows, alright? It's listening to us. And it's gonna prevent us from getting the shiny until like 50,000 resets. I shouldn't say that out loud. We'll actually jinx it. It'll actually be 50,000. You have 140 full attempts left until 4,000. Oh, that's the math you were trying to do. How many resets I had? Yeah, the math is a little tricky. And listen, we've already established I'm bad at math. But it's a little tricky because technically we're doing one reset at a time. But one full reset is for Charmander resets. You know what I should do? Oh my god, why did I not think of this before? So you know how when I like increase the number, I'll sometimes press the wrong number. For example, we just went up to 3,444. 3444. I have my counter on screen set up to go individually. So every one time I press it, it goes up 1. And sometimes I'll press it the wrong number of times. We'll press it 1 less time, and it says 43. Or 1 too many times, and it says 45, when it's supposed to say 44. I just thought about it, and I know for a fact I could set up the counter in a way where it goes up in increments of 4. That way I won't mess up anymore, and I won't press the button too few times or too many times. Why am I not doing that? Hold up, we're going to set that up after this reset. Technically, I could wait until the next stream and set it up between now and then, but I want to set it up now just to start getting myself in the muscle memory of only pressing the button for the counter once. And that would save us such a hassle. What is wrong with me? Okay, I'm going to do it now. Open my program for the counter. And then if I go into settings, wait, edit, yes, increments of 4, save. Oh my god, why was I not doing this before? Okay, so now if I press the button 1 time, it should go up in an increment of 4. And it does. Dude. I've been pressing this stupid counter button. This stupid button to increase the number on screen 3,448 times individually. Individual presses to make the number on screen go up individually by multiples of 1. And I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but I'm just trying to fully verbalize how stupid that was when I could have been doing it in increments of 4. Oh my god. Why did I not think about this? I mean, in my defense, I've never done a shiny hunt like this before. So in the past, I've always had the settings of this program to increments of 1 because I was shiny hunting in increments of 1. This is the first time I've ever done something different than that. But I've known that's a setting. I've always known that's a setting. And I should have known better. I should have had that setting changed to increments of 4 at the start of the shiny hunt, bro. Something is wrong with me. I still have to click the clicker 4 times, but only once on my keyboard to increase the number on screen. That's okay. I kind of like clicking the clicker. It's almost like a fidget for me. It's like those popping bubbles that people have, like the reusable bubble wrap, or like a fidget spinner. That's what this clicker is for me. Keeps me sane during these shiny hunt streams. Oh man, my eyelashes are getting stuck together. I like can't see out of my right eye right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I love this. This clicker, amazing. Excuse me. Thank you. All right. Almost done. I gotta wake up. Can't fall asleep yet. We're almost there. Got 34 left. Or no, 44. Tonight's just been a fun little showcase of how bad I am at math. It's on full display. 5 more resets. I'm saying it now. I trust you. And you know what? I believe that. I've never believed something as truly, fully, and wholly as I do right now. And you know what? It's gonna happen. Not this reset. Yeah. We didn't get a shiny this one, but that's because we gotta wait 5 more. So it's not gonna be this reset either, because this is reset number 2. That's fine. We gotta get through resets number 2, 3, and 4 to get to reset number 5. You know, it's about the journey. Some people would say this reset is a waste because we're not going to get the shiny. But I would argue it's part of the process. It's almost more important than reset number 5, where we get the shiny. Because this is going to get us to that end goal. And without the hard work, where's the accomplishment? Where's the pride? There is none. There's no reward. Obviously, like I said, no shiny there. Reset number 3. Now this one will sometimes trick people. They think they're gonna get the shiny on reset number 3. I've seen some people get a little too confident before, and they put all their eggs in the basket of reset number 3. I know we're not getting the shiny on reset number 3, obviously. But you'll see other people, weaker people than me, who they think they're getting the shiny on reset number 3, they don't, and then they give up. Reset number 3 always trips people up. It really is the most difficult part of the game, actually. And it's not a physical wall that you have to overcome, it's a mental wall. And like I said, no shinies. And this is where people would quit. Oh no, I forgot that we're pressing the button 1 at a time now. I pressed the button 4 times, as if we were still doing it in increments of 4. Oh, that's so silly. And that's what I mean. See, I literally predicted it. Reset number 3, it's a mental blockade. It trips people up, it tripped me up with the counter. But it's okay, we fixed the counter on screen. And now we push on to reset number 4. And you know, reset number 4, I don't mean to be a hater, but reset number 4 just sucks. You know? After the high of reset number 3, and what will be the high of reset number 5 when we find the shiny, reset number 4 is just kind of sandwiched in between those 2 exciting moments. And it's truly a boring part of the game. Reset number 4 kind of messes up the pacing of the game, really. I think I reset more trying to get a shiny Drampa than I did to get Arceus. Oh no. And see, this is what I mean. Reset number 4 sucks because I just messed up. And sure, you could try to say that I messed up because I was reading chat. But no, I messed up because reset number 4 is it's just bad. It's just not fun. Yeah, we pretend reset number 4 just doesn't even exist, honestly. There's no point in acknowledging it. But here's the thing. And this is where the game gets really good. Alright, the story kind of takes a heel turn. Now we're on reset number 5. And everyone knows you get the shiny on reset number 5. So I would definitely pay attention right now if you're a lurker. And if you're not a sub, sorry, I'm gonna run an ad actually. Sorry, 90-minute ad roll. But no, this is where dreams come true. No. Why are you sad? I think you are a sub. Am I wrong? I thought you were. You're like the only person in the chat that's a sub right now. You're the one person that's going to be able to watch me find the shiny once I run this 90-second ad. Wow, for some reason I thought you were a sub. I don't know why. I'm tripping. And you know, that's okay. It's okay we didn't get the shiny because you actually meant 5 resets from when you sent that chat message. I keep pressing the button too many times because I'm not used to it being in increments of 4 yet, but that's okay. Eventually, we'll get used to it. We'll get our muscle memory down, and it'll be a blessing. Yeah, see, and I should have known better. I should have assumed that's what you meant. Yeah, you meant 5 resets from when you sent that message. So the first one didn't actually count as number 1. It was technically 0. This is the actual reset number 5 right here. And it makes sense why the last one was so disappointing, because as everyone knows, reset number 4 is just terrible. And that's why the last reset just didn't hit the same. Oh my god, why did I press the button? Keep loading into the wrong menu, bro. I'm so salty. It's okay. All of my pain will be washed away here as we get the shiny. Now, you know, at this point, I'm a little lost. Even I can admit, I'm a little confused what the game's doing right now. It's too bad. We gotta get through reset number 4 again. See, this is why reset number 4 sucks, because you just get stun locked, actually. You get stuck on reset number 4 for multiple resets. Me and my homies hate reset number 4. And you know, I think I just realized what the problem is. We actually have 5 resets left before the end of the stream. So maybe this is when the 5 resets start. The final 5 resets. We actually should have been counting backwards. You know, it's not the first 5 resets. It's the last 5 that count. You're right. That's what I'm truly beginning to believe. Because, like, realistically, what would 5 resets be if not the last 5 resets? Because you could do 5 resets anytime in the stream. But it only really counts as 5 if you end after reset number 5. And of course, you'll end the stream after reset number 5 because you get the shiny. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. It's just like the rule of Pokemon. I mean, if you don't know that about Pokemon, you're kind of a casual. Sorry. Fake fan. Can't tell, I'm clearly trying to make this bit last until the end of the stream. We've got 3 resets left. I can drag out a bit for 3 resets. I can drag out that joke for like 5 more minutes. At the end of the day, all the resets we made... Sorry, I can't even read the message. That's okay. I was laughing too much to finish reading it anyways. I low-key thought you did it on purpose, just to give me, like, a mental... I don't know, conniption. the resets were the friends we made along the way. Yeah, all the friends and all the abandoned Charmanders. Orphaned because I didn't want one that wasn't shiny. Fortnite brain rot. You're seeing your first signs and symptoms of brain rot. In the future, we're gonna get those like TV commercials where a lawyer is trying to get you to hire them, but instead of it being for like old diseases, you know, boomer diseases like mesothelioma, in the future you're just gonna see an ad where it's a lawyer, library of books behind him, suit and tie on, and in a very stern, serious voice, they'll say to you, "Have you suffered from brain rot before? Call Morgan & Morgan Law, and we will form a class action lawsuit against Epic Games for you." This is the last reset, by the way. Sorry. I'm clearly getting a little deranged, but we're almost there. Last 4 shinies before 500. Shinies. I don't know why I said that. Actually, I said that because all 4 are going to be shiny. Last 4 Charmanders before we end the stream for the night. Put me in the gamer home already. Oh my god. It's not going to be a retirement home. It's going to be a gamer home. You're going to be hooked up to a VR headset, constantly playing Fortnite, steal a brain rot. Unlucky. No shinies today, friends. That's okay. Cool. My muscle memory still is not used to this being in increments of 4. That's okay. We'll get used to it eventually, and then once we do, I think that'll be a much better system. So I don't have to press the button individually. Yeah. Sadly, no shiny today, but that's okay. I'm gonna go put on my VR headset and maybe play a little bit of like Fortnite Death Race. Maybe some Roblox. Guess the NPC. What is that game called? It's like the only game I've ever played in Roblox. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We'll go steal some brain rot from some children. Make a 6-year-old cry in Roblox. That's what I'm gonna go do with my free time. But anyways, this was fun. Thank you all for hanging out. We'll do another shiny hunting stream here soon because I really want to get this shiny like sooner rather than later. I know that sounds obvious to say, but it's because I know how much grinding it's going to take to just get to the point in the game where we can shiny hunt the second Pokemon. Like, we have to beat half of the game practically to unlock the game corner and be able to start our second shiny hunt. And that means I gotta beat half of the game multiple times. That's like beating the full game twice. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, because that's gonna be such a grind, I want to get the first shiny out of the way so we can start that grind. But yeah, next time we'll get some more brain rot, and that'll increase our shiny odds. Win-win. Exactly. Otherwise, though, I think I'm gonna head out. Have a wonderful night, y'all. And I'll see you tomorrow with another stream. Peace out, friends.